My name is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about when somebody new to you triggers some awful memories, some bad memories from the past, and not just about one person. Okay, and it's basically because they're that new person to you. Let's call her Mary. Excuse me. Mary is going down a road, verbally going down a road that you've seen happen in the past. People take, and yeah, it doesn't lead to anything good. In fact, it leads to just basically some form of like verbal abuse, or that might be too extreme, but for some it's just like maybe an ignorance. Okay, I'm using a new video editor, and from what I've seen so far, it seems to cut off the very beginning and the very end of each clip, so hopefully it won't do that. Okay, that's just a little note there. But in this video, I'm going to use a hypothetical, fictional kind of example that's going to seem petty. Now remember what I say about things that seem petty to some people. It may actually, the action may be petty, but the purpose, the reason behind it is not. Okay, and let me give you an example. An example would be, say you're a middle class person, and the other person, Mary, is a middle class person, and you go to middle class restaurants. Okay, and so does Mary. Mary goes to middle class restaurants, and but she goes to ones that are different than the ones you go to. Okay, now that whole scene, right off the bat, if I say Mary says negative things about the restaurants you go to, you'll say, oh, that's kind of petty. But the purpose could be not petty, not at all. The reason for her doing that can be so much bigger. Okay, so yeah, that's going to be my example in this one. And by the way, this has not happened to me in face-to-face world or any world, virtual or face-to-face. So it's just a fictional example. Is someone you've met online, only online. Okay, this could be in person too, but let's just say online. And they're new. Mary's new to you, and at first, not things are not directed at you. Okay, let's say like this is a person who makes videos online, and you just happen to run across this person, like Mary, and she makes videos that have nothing to do with you at all. So, and as you're watching, you say, oh, I really like Mary. She seems like a happy person, or a fun person, funny, whatever it is that you like. And she seems to be that way. Like I said, it has nothing to do with you. And so you continue to watch Mary. And at some point you see Mary starts to get, a lot more people watching her. Her channel's growing, or whatever it is, her group or whatever is starting to grow. And you're also a person who does this, okay? Makes videos. But, in your own channel or group or whatever. So, you comment a few times, and she never does comment on yours, okay? And anyway, Mary starts, has more of a following and people commenting and stuff like that. And then she says something about a restaurant that you go to. Okay, and you've mentioned that you go to this restaurant, okay, on your own channel, your own group. And she says something, like might first time come off as something of a little joke about the restaurant you go to. Okay. But she's not saying you, she's just talking in general. You're thinking, well, is that directed at me? And maybe it's not at all, directed at you at all, or maybe you don't even think that because you're not all that paranoid, and you don't always think that everything anybody says is about you. I have a really bad habit of that, not thinking they're talking bad about me when they are. Seriously. Or not even bad, when they are pointing something in my direction, and it's not that I'm just clueless, it's like, why would they? Why would somebody go to that extreme? You see what I'm saying? Anyway, Mary starts making videos, and one of the first ones, she makes something that sounds like a little bit of a joke or something, or just light, about the restaurant, one of the restaurants you go to. Like I said, she's not saying your name or pointing at you. Then the next, time or two later on, she mentions it again, and she talks, she kind of really, buffs up the restaurant she goes to. Oh, they're the best, and nothing is like them. They're wonderful people. They're wonderful food. They're wonderful this. Everything is, it's like she's romanticizing these restaurants. There's nothing bad at all about these restaurants she goes to. Now, you don't go to the same restaurants, okay? Like I said. So you watch that, and you see she's romanticizing, because nothing is that perfect as she puts out. There are problems, and yeah, everybody knows the problems, but she really puts it out there, and other people start to follow and say, hey, that's great, and all this kind of stuff, okay? She starts to really say negative things about the restaurants you go to, but she goes to an extreme. I mean, each time it builds up. Now, once she gets away with it, the people who are, her following, follow her. Once she gets away with a little bit, she goes to a little bit more. She goes to a little bit more. You see, each time she builds up because she's getting away with it. Nobody's saying, no, you're wrong. That's not right to do that. And then, but eventually, she goes beyond talking about the restaurant and starts talking about the people who go to the restaurant. Okay, what type she sees these people as that go, are diners there, customers there. She starts really digging into them, okay, and she's stereotyping. And stereotypes are generally always never a good thing. I'm going to say pretty much always a bad thing, This kind of road is the road that people you've seen in the past take. Now, at what point of that road, following that person down that road, are you going to just veer off and say, I'm not going down that road with them? Because they trigger something you've seen other people do. Maybe you were just sitting on the sidelines, you were an observer. You're sitting on the sidelines and you see it happening to somebody else, or somebody's doing that, and you don't get involved. It could be that, but it happens every blue moon. And it's not something that happens with everybody, not something that happens all the time. Like I said, every blue moon. And you say, no, when this one comes, at what point do you say that? At what point do you decide, no, I don't want to invest any more time in this person, because this person is already showing that they could go down that road, playing basically something like an elitist, superiority. Or they just feel free to cut down things that could, be, offensive to other people. Make them on the defensive, or just, that they like, and wow, this person they're watching just bashes, You see what I'm saying? And they feel freer each time when nobody checks them. Nobody says, okay, checks them, says, no, you don't really want to do that. You don't really want to compare this restaurant and that restaurant and say yours is superior and the other one's inferior. You see, this is kind of just an example. Like I said, it hasn't happened to me. But the purpose, the small petty action could be truly masking something big. Okay, and it might not. I don't think people usually use this expression for this, but sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes the person is just not that sensitive to what other people may feel, isn't thinking about it. They're too busy wrapped up in their fantasy world of, it could be a fantasy world of romanticizing whatever is about them, that they don't see that, that might be offensive to other people. Okay, it could be, on a lower level, it could be on a really higher level, and all points in between, it's not all black and white. So, now, say you do say something to Mary, okay, you say, let Mary know that, no, everything isn't all that rosy, but who does? When you see somebody who's romanticizing something, do you say anything when they seem like they're really happy and, they're, feeling really good about whatever it is, do you ever say anything? Because you would be considered a wet blanket, maybe. Or you could, online you could be considered as a troll. That's kind of hard. Like if you're established in whatever community or something, it's hard for somebody to say you're just a troll. Now, if you're like a fake account and you don't have any, whatever it is, yeah, there's a difference there. But anyway, so you say something that's not all that rude. It's just pointing out that, the grass is not always greener on your side. It's like your grass is always greener than everybody else's. Politely. And say, like I said, this is online, and that person deletes your comment because now how would you see it? Would you see it as that person saying, I'm just going to delete your comment because I don't need anybody, nobody's going to say anything bad about what I find is the greatest thing in the world? Or it could just be that the person says, oh, I don't want any negativity, I'm going to delete any negative. Well, how would you see that? I know how I see it. I know how I see all of this. Okay, but I want to see, how do you see it? Leave a comment below. The video is getting long, so I need to wrap it up. But if you want to, there's more to this. I'll do other videos about it. But, this kind of concept, not this kind of situation, but, this concept. But anyway, if you want to subscribe to this channel, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click on the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you would on your own social media. And I'll talk to y'all in another video. Bye.